about to start and be very quietly. And we'll see you tomorrow, okay?
I think it would be fun to run a newspaper. I think it would be fun to run a newspaper.
Out of 1,000 people, one person in there is going to be this kind of twisted one that writes stuff down and draws pictures and has a typewriter, and they're going to make books.
Hi, my name is Bill Sanio. I am the book manager at Media Play on Sheridan Drive and Niagara Falls Boulevard in Amherst, New York. What type of magazines we sell? Well, we sell basically all the major and weekly periodicals that come out. Everything from Women's Day to Time to Cinescape to everything under the sun. Like most businesses nowadays, the magazines we decide to carry are based upon marketing results, on what sells best. That's how Media Play makes a magazine list. I'm embarrassed to say that the big bookstores are swallowing up all the little ones because we have the backing of a major corporation, and they just have, depending upon, the business, they have one owner or a couple owners, and that's it. So they're privately funded. All the ones we do carry in the store have a UPC symbol. It's standard practice. It's like an international standard book number. As long as it's a legitimate publisher. If it's a People of the Night Publishing, which someone's running on their photocopy machine, then the book probably doesn't have an international standard book number.
No, I don't actually. I know that they don't, because anytime that I sort of try and tell people who don't normally run around in my circles, quote unquote, they don't really know what I'm talking about. And even when I try to explain it, it doesn't really make sense to them.
Oh, I don't know what a zine is.
No,
I have no idea.
No idea.
I couldn't even begin to think. It sounds like a history thing.
A zine?
A zine.
A zine. What the hell is that? I don't know.
Could you guess?
Could I guess? I don't know. Sounds like something from Eastern Europe, maybe? Maybe, I don't know.
A what?
A zine?
Zine? Zine?
Zine.
Zine. No fucking clue.
I'd say a fanzine is a documentation of counterculture. Usually ideas that aren't mainstream. They're pretty, sometimes eccentric, oddball ideas that you wouldn't see in any kind of glossy corporate rag. It's the kind of stuff anyone can make. I guess they originated with science fiction enthusiasts. They'd read novels and write back and forth to each other, and this sort of turned into some little magazine distribution system. And now it seems that it's a huge resurgence in fanzines.
I would think what I would think separates a zine from a book or a magazine would be the fact that it's photocopied, although this is not true in all cases because you have things like Maximum Rock and Roll and such, which are more print, newsprint. But I would say inexpensive, giving kind of oppositional views on things, counterculture views on things, and cheap. Although that's not even true in a lot of cases.
A publication that functions in a network unsanctioned by the more organized, glitzy literary community. And it functions in its own, on its own level, in its own world, and is consumed by people within that literary network.
It's a medium of expression. Like, if you want to express something, it's a medium to do it, either like with pictures, with words, with like comics, whatever you do. Like, our zine is political. Some people have it funny.
A zine would be a candidate who doesn't pay attention to the students' wants and needs. Not like myself. I'm running for president on the Endeavor Party ticket, so if you get a chance, next week, March 3rd, 4th, and 5th, vote Endeavor. We'll pay attention to the students' needs, and we'll keep tuition low, and we'll have more campus safety. That's what a zine.
Zina?
Isn't that a diet soft drink?
I've been making it for about 2 years now. It started as a little high school underground paper. Where it was basically cut and paste, and we pretty much made fun of the whole school. And
me.
Including Jay here. And it was a big hit, and I really wasn't a big fan with the school papers because they usually shunned my work and either edited it or formed it to their way. So I decided to make my own paper.
There is a lot of division just amongst transgendered people. Drag queens, have a problem with transsexuals. Transsexuals have a problem with transvestites. Cross-dressers try and stay to themselves a lot of the times. What I've tried to do is incorporate everything into my zine so that everybody who reads it will kind of get a view of how the other person lives.
My zine is called Free Fixins, and it's a zine entirely dedicated to dumpster diving and garbage picking, and basically it just retells stories of things I found in the garbage and how I found them and what they mean, like, finding grocery lists, finding pictures, finding furniture, how to find certain types of articles. And actually this time I have some submissions of people who are infamous garbage pickers, so it's just all about dumpster diving.
Our zine is called The Rolling Papers. It's printed on hemp paper. It's all sort of hippie humor, kind of Cheech and Chong-ish, if you like.
We've been around since September 1992 and are considered, strangely enough, a terrorist organization by the police and media. What we do is educate people about the dangers of neo-Nazism and fascism, and we will physically confront Nazis in the street.
I feel like my zine is more personal, even though it includes all kinds of things. It's mostly personal takes on all kinds of things. I try to write from, my perspective just on everything.
But then it evolved into its own thing. Still, there's a lot of intentional typos and intentional misspellings. And of course, we don't like the grid too much, although this one looks pretty grid-like. But we like things all over the pages. The grid is like some corporate aesthetic that's rammed down everyone's throat, and people think if something doesn't look like what you've already seen before, that it's bad.
People like something because people are fans of something, because people want to say something, not for making money. The motive. The difference between a zine and a magazine is, a magazine, the motive for doing it is making money. A zine, the motive for doing it is because you like what you're doing. Doesn't matter if it makes money. Most zines don't make money.
Anything really, sometimes just artwork for the sake of it. But yeah, just mainly humorous stuff. Nothing that I look at and I think is like a good idea or that would make someone look at it and think, oh, maybe I could do something like that, or I might like to continue this story, or send this guy some ideas about what he could do. Stuff that gets people thinking.
I like the idea of that fanzines could be that anyone can do it. Like, you could have your garbage man doing it, you could have all stories about what the garbage man finds, and, or like, your elevator operator could have all the weird stories of what kind of stuff you've seen in the elevator. Or, it'd be cool if everyone did fanzines, and then you'd see all the kind of weird, twisted stories that are out and floating about.
I mean, basically anything out there's going to be a zine for it, because anyone can think of this, and anyone has the ability to do it if they have the motivation to type something up, write something down, go to a copy store, make copies, and just try and give them to people.
I'm hoping that it will help her through some of the difficulties that teenagers have to face today.
I had a deck of pornographic playing cards, and I would go through the school yearbook and cut out guys' heads who I really liked to stick them on the playing cards, and then would go and photocopy them in my father's office, like sort of hide them in my coat and go in and photocopy them. So I was creating these collages of like this sort of utopian world where all the boys I knew were happy and naked.
I put together this little newsletter sort of thing, I called it something or other Gazette, and it was just, on like regular lined paper and stuff. It was like nothing fancy at all, but, and I sort of designed it like, sort of like a newspaper more than anything.
I first started doing fanzines in 1989 with a zine called East Coast Exchange. And when I started doing it, I thought I was the first one trying to do their own press thing, and then in the act of starting it, then I realized there was tons of zines out there and just didn't know about it. Is that clear?
You're gonna put that in your newspaper too? It's news, and I'm a newspaper man.
Hombre de Cloaca, and I copy zines for Psychomoto. I stay after work for an hour and help Ethan out and copy zines. Just throw it in the feeder and I sneak them out through my bag. If you do it during the day, there's a lot of risk, because then the managers and everybody's walking through and they may see you. But if you do it at night, stay late, it's no problem. You just put it on feed and walk away and come back, there'll be 50 copies. I think there becomes a point where too big of a bag it would be looking suspicious when you leave.
I actually had a photocopy connection for my first one, and then we made too many copies, and now there's a counter on the photocopier, so it can't do that this time. So I'm trying to come up with a different plan now. I don't know what though.
Is that really your idea of how to run a newspaper?
I don't know how to run a newspaper, Mr. Thatcher. I just try everything I can think of.
How do you guys print those up?
That's the top secret thing we can't let you know about.
No, go ahead, say it.
Secret dealings, I'm sorry, I'm too embarrassed to say on camera. I cannot let it be known how exactly we got them printed up.
What do you do on a newspaper in the middle of the night?
As far as doing a zine, I just think it's, I guess, part of the whole punk ethos, you know, get away with as much as you can. And, you know, if it means breaking the rules or whatever means necessary, then do it.
Because I'm broke. I'm a student, damn it. People need to see my work, and if 100 copies are made at a corporation, so be it. They won't know and they won't care of the thousands and thousands of copies that are made every day and millions of dollars they make every day. I think my 700 copies is justified.
You're concerned with what people will think? Well, perhaps I can enlighten you, Signor Mattisti. I'm something of an authority on what people will think. The newspapers, for example.
I also do the sort of typical thing of I'll go to various stores in town that stock zines or take stuff on consignment and say, you know, here's a stack of zines. And that works reasonably well. I mean, you start to learn what venues are not moving your zines at all and what venues, you know, are like selling them out.
You'd have to go to an independent music store probably, or some bookstores in the area will sell them. None of the mainstream, like you wouldn't see one at Media Play or anything, but Talking Leaves. That's pretty much it. Any of the cooler bookstores that'll carry independent media, which that's your best bet to go and find one.
Through the mail mostly, word of mouth. I don't mean that literally, but you know, like word of letter maybe through other zine people.
Eyes of Satan! It's cool because everybody like helps each other, and that's what I really like also about the networking. You know, I'll send so-and-so 2 issues of mine, and then you know, they'll trade back with me. And so not only do they get to see my zine, but I also get to see what's going on in the world of ska zines, or zines in general.
My friend, Sung-Hwa, who does, you know, a couple different zines are used to, showed me this, you know, a Blink Moxie zine. There's an ad in here for Calibration. I wrote to Calibration and got a response. Became pen pals, met last summer, and you know, have been together ever since. And just weird things like that happen. Like if I had never seen Blink Moxie, I wouldn't know about Calibration.
You're treating me like you treat all your other writers.
You really hate me, don't you, Connor?
No. I don't like you very much, though.
That can be hard because you have to have the right facilities for it. When you work at a school paper or something like that, you can just give it to your editor. Here you go, here's my article. It's all handwritten, it's sloppy. They pretty it up for you, they do it. You know, they put out the whole printing and the copying and the, you know, distributing. Whereas in a zine, you have to do it yourself. You have to do it, all of that yourself. And if you aren't dedicated to it enough, you aren't, you know, going to have a good distribution because you're not going to have money copies and you're not going to be able to get it out to people.
Well, it's just you put so much time and effort into something, and you feel underappreciated because you feel that you're not reaching enough people with the amount of work you're putting into it. And it's just frustrating that you just do all this work and you feel underappreciated because you're not getting that much in response. You feel like you're doing a lot for nothing at times.
Not getting enough response. Well, you know, there's always a question of what is enough, but trying to sell copies, I sell mine at shows, and you know, when people are just like, or what's a zine, or what's ska, even think it's up to people in bands to really, you know, say, hey, look what this kid's doing, it's cool. So the give and take is more fair than just take.
Overnight results or anything like that. I mean, it's frustrating, but I think it's just something you have to live with when you're doing stuff like this. That's one of the other trade-offs for doing the work that you want to do.
I don't see why you have to go straight out to the newspaper.
You never should have married a newspaper man. They're worse than sailors.
You should ask my girlfriend that question. I guess it would be an obsession because I'm constantly thinking of the next issue and how to improve it and what I'm going to have in it.
It's weird because I think about them all the time. I mean, I know that sounds retarded, but I do. I mean, I think about them all the time. When I come home from work, I think, oh, I wonder if I got anything in the mail. Or, you know, oh, I should really be writing about such and such for the zine.
I always feel as though, like, as soon as I get one issue done and it's, like, printed, I'm already thinking about what's going to go in the next. Like, I start looking.
You do so many.
right after, like, they're photocopied, like, it's like, oh, geez, that'll be in the next issue. And, like, the next issue's already going through my head.
Some people it's a hobby, some people it's a job, and then it stops being a zine. Some people it's an obsession. I think like the best zines, it's an obsession.
Sometimes I think I'd prefer a rival of flesh and blood.
Oh, Emily, I don't spend that much time on the newspaper.
Zinedom is escape from being controlled by advertisers. It's escape from being controlled by market forces, market pressure. So I guess there are political overtones in that, but you can do a zine without being political.
For me, a zine isn't about trying to like overthrow the government and change the world in any kind of huge, massive way. Politics are generally unpleasant, you know. So I kind of whisk them away underneath the rug and try to talk about happy things. Not necessarily like happy, like as in totally naive, but take things and make them funny. So if I'm going to talk about politics, I'm going to talk about politics in a funny way and go, you know, Bill Clinton used to drive an El Camino. That's all that needs to be said.
No, you don't! No! I'm a newspaper man, not a politician!
Unfortunately, too many of the people have this myth that they're a subculture, that they're really changing society. I don't think that reflects the fact. They're on the fringe of society and they're doing good things and letting people in on their interests. I don't think it's really, in a bigger sense, making a difference.
If you're looking at an individual level, I think it can be really effective depending on if the person takes heart to what you're saying. And in another instance, people just read it, that's nice, throw it down in their pile of recyclables. I mean, it really depends on how far a person thinks into what they read.
You're not changing the world, maybe, but you're changing little things here and there, and you know, little things in your own way. That's probably the most rewarding.
On one hand, I want to be really well known for my zine, but on the other hand, it doesn't seem really to matter if it's just my friends who know about it and like it.
I love you.
An e-zine is basically a zine that you would contact through the internet, through the World Wide Web. You would track down someone's homepage and then hypertext it through like a different series of layouts, like a zine.
I can't read zines on a flat computer screen. It kills my eyes. I can't get anything out of it. I need to like be able to turn the pages and such. And I'm really like opposed to people who totally put their zines, do their zines completely on computer.
What do you think computers are doing to zines?
Well, I think they're making them look really shitty and boring. I mean, that's like...
There's more of them though?
More shitty, boring computers laid out zines? I do. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing because more people are putting them out. But I think because people are putting them out don't have any visual skills, the way zines are laid out and the way they're cut and pasted by human hands, that even when a human hand tries to do it straight, we never do it quite straight. Because they're done by hand, they're still not quite symmetrical, and it's kind of hard to tell, but it's really special and beautiful to look at.
This is stenciled. I made a stencil and hand stenciled 100 copies of this. The next issue was watercolored. And every issue of the zine, the covers are hand done. And this to me is important, and this doesn't exist in computers. I mean, you get a different kind of thing. But this, people run their hands across this, and they say, how did you do this? This is a beautiful image, you know, whatever. This is one of the reasons I do zines, and because I want to invest myself in the image making.
I'm infringing on copyright, I know, because you're not allowed to photocopy newspapers, right? And distribute them otherwise. Some articles are definitely republished in a different kind of way, but sometimes they're published in my zine the way they would have been published originally. Farrah Fawcett. I mean, this is from a 1970s publication on how to do your hair like Farrah Fawcett. Now, I'm not expecting anyone who's reading my zine to be taking this seriously, but my readership is aged, you know, my average age of my readership is probably 28 or 29, which is my age. And so that we have a certain relationship with Farrah Fawcett. If I called this writer and said, could I reprint your thing, he'd say no, of course, because he's got a contract with the paper, he sold it to the paper, and that's it. They wouldn't let him reprint it, so he would have to tell me no. It's like that in a lot of art situations, and zines are the same way as art. If you ask permission, you won't get it, but if you just go ahead and do it, no one's probably going to say anything.
First rule of doing a zine is you're not going to get any profit, and you're really not going to make anything off of it.
You can make money off of a zine if you totally want to compromise everything in it by putting advertisements in it. The more advertisements in it, the more that you'll be able to print.
You can't co-opt a zine out of the underground and into the mainstream, because then it's a magazine, or it's a book, or it's whatever. Like, it changes the whole definition of what it is.
It makes zines mainstream. It's just that the mainstream knows about them. But, you know what I'm saying, still, your typical people who only wallow in mainstream culture and mainstream ideas, you know, probably couldn't care less about a zine, you know. But they at least know what one is, and I think that's a positive thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You know? We're here to deal with it.
Man, you come right out of a comic book. The idea of making money on it is so ridiculous, you know, so what? It's just like, here, read this. Write me a letter. I don't care, don't give me $2, write me a letter.
I do that too.
That's what I want. I want that more than the $2.
I got 2 letters from John Wayne Gacy when he was on death row, when I was doing East Coast Exchange. He sent me a couple letters trying to promote his fan club. When John Wayne Gacy was a serial killer who killed over, I think, 33 men in the Chicago area and had 12 death sentences and was executed some few years ago.
The weirdest thing I've ever gotten in the mail was a paint, and this, I still don't know how the guy did it. One of, you know, acrylic paints come in these tubes, these little, like, metal tubes.
Yeah.
He filled it with shit. I got a acrylic paint tube filled with shit.
I would really love to be able to give these as a gift. My mom's a great prayer warrior for me, and she's gone to bat in prayer for me many times. And I would love for her to have one.
I avoid showing my parents my zine just because I don't want to feel like I have to self-censor. You know, I don't want them to like read things about me that they don't know and then like be like, what is with this, you know?
My mother found a copy of it, and she read the entire thing and afterwards said, you know, stuff like that should not be lying around the house. You have younger siblings. I think it's really screwed up. I think your ideas are really screwed up, and I don't know what's wrong with you. And I said, oh, that's okay, you know, whatever. But I don't know. I don't think they understand it to a certain extent.
He usually thinks it's goofy, and my brothers and sisters, they look at it and they get a kick out of it. They like it. I mean, there's certain things I don't really want them to see, but I don't know, other than that, it's a lot of good fun.
I don't know what other artists do when they finish a painting or they finish a film or whatever. But when I finish a zine, I sit there and I laugh. I'll laugh for like 2 hours. Literally, I'll laugh my head off at something that I created. I did it. I organized it. It's mine. Some people like owning a car, but they didn't make the car. I made the fucking car. I made it. It's mine.
I've gone through my life a lot of times with a boyfriend who, you know, I was always the girlfriend and I was always in a man's shadow. And I don't like being in a man's shadow. I like really expressing my own thoughts and not just being such and such girlfriend. So with my zine, it's kind of a therapy thing.
I have fun doing it. I have fun writing about things I find like garbage. I think I thrill myself more than I thrill anyone else with it, and I don't know, I just like distributing it, and I like getting feedback about it. It's like, because it's a project that I can do from start to finish, that I can control, and I can do it how I want, which there's very few things in life that you can do exactly the way you want to do it.
That's the beauty of doing small press, or zines.
or even just contributing to them, you don't have to get screened. There's no sponsors, there's no publishing firms. You can just basically put in whatever you want, and it makes it a more honest finished product.
The most fun about this whole thing is just getting together with everybody and sort of being part of this community is excellent. It's the best.
I cannot believe how many people were lined up on my doorstep this morning before they showed up.
There's nothing rewarding about doing a zine.
Well, maybe it doesn't work for you.
He had sex with the ape and then she had kids.
An accident happened. I broke the condom.
Another thing that got me in trouble is I refused to do the hokey pokey.
Zine is, I would say it's a small animal with a big penis.
Well, they're certainly growing. I mean, you can simply tell by all the magazines that are coming out. They're readily available at any independent music store. Thousands of them have sprouted up. Certainly copy machines have something to do with this, because it seems everywhere you look in something like Fact Sheet 5, there's a zine somewhere, so it's a great thing. It's great that it's on the rise. Hopefully it'll produce something down the road. You can look back and say that we accomplished something.